What's up, dudes? It's Lazy Universe, your master to the Geeky and Nerdy, and welcome to a new episode. And today I'm going to be talking about the 2011 Thundercats TV series. I remember when Cartoon Network promoted this, they talked about this for the longest time. I remember when they released the promo episode of it. Remember when Cartoon Network used to do promos? I am old school, man, if I remember when the Cartoon Network used to be nostalgic and whatnot. But is this series worth watching even till today? 10 years, oh my god, 10 years. 10 years after this was released? Because it was released in 2011. Well, I'm pretty certain. Well, in all honesty, want my honest opinion? Yeah. I honestly picked this up at my local Dollar General, both of them. If you saw my Christmas special 2019, you would know that I have acquired the Thundercats back in the day. I was gonna do a review of them basically back at the time, but I was going through some stress and whatnot things, and kind of affected the channel also as well. So. But the Thundercats here, and I grew up with the 80s series. I grew up with Boomerang, which had something called Boomer Action every, I think, Friday and Saturday, where they used to show basically old school cartoons over the weekend. And I do remember watching the Thundercats on Boomerang. But, I think Cartoon Network too. But, does that mean that it's a bad series? Heck no, man. This new Thundercats series is actually pretty dang good. It has a pretty stellar voice cast too. You have Clancy Brown, you have Phil Lamar, you have Will Fredo. I mean, you have all these really good school, old school voice actors that's really getting into this, and it's really a damn good story. It feels a lot like basically Dragon Ball, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, when the episode first begins, you have the first king, Lionel, there with everybody and everything, and then that's when we learn that Clancy Brown character had the treachery against everybody, and that's when Fallout War comes on, and that the regeneration of Mumra happens and everything. And it comes really, really good, man. I mean, nothing is forced on you. They do a really good job building this universe around you, and this really feels like a Thundercats that people of my age and around the age of 13 and grown up can actually get into. I mean, it's a really damn good series with really good character development and, again, a really stellar voice cast. Because I'm nostalgic and because I am a nostalgic person, I remember when Cartoon Network announced that they were doing this series. I think it was one night I was watching either Symbiotic Titan or Generator Rex on Cartoon Network. They announced that they were doing Thundercats as well. And I was like, man, you know, I was against it. I was like, they're not going to do a good job, man. I said, there is no way in hell they're going to live up to the expectations of the original series. Excuse me. Because the original series was like, what, 4 to 5 seasons long? And you have something that's just coming out of the blue that's basically going to try to resurrect that. I mean, this was also around the time when Batman, The Brave and the Bold was coming out with a new take on basically the 60s Batman series. Basically it was. So you have these new things that were coming out that basically were inspired by the old stuff. You had Young Justice, which was basically an adult version of Teen Titans back in the early 2000s. I mean, all this new stuff was coming out that would basically revamp the versions of older TV shows. Essentially, to me it was. And I was like, yeah, you know, I don't know. And I pushed it off. I never watched the first episode premiere. I watched the promo, and the promo made it look really good, but I was like, no. So the animation in this is quality, it's flawless. And I was like, no. I pushed it off. Every time I would see like a promo of it, every time that it used to be released on Cartoon Network, I never watched it. I was like, Nope. Until, honestly, I saw these sitting inside of my Dollar General store, and I was like, okay, alright. I said, I'll put them up and I'll see how they are. And to be honest, they are some of the best episodes that you could ever see. I mean, especially with the first episode and onward, and I mean, it really delves into a more adult oriented audience or older teen audience. And sadly for me, especially like when I was watching Young Justice religiously back in the day, and I still love this series even till today. When I bought one of the DVD seasons, and I laughed my ass off more than I should have with Batman the Brave and the Bold, and I was getting into basically the kind of like different relative of TV stars at the time, and it was like, man, why did I pass on this? Because it's so damn good. I mean, there was an episode in it where they identified that Panthro worked alongside, I forget Clancy Brown's character. I think it's Linkso. No, not Linkso. It's somebody else. But they recognized and they referenced that they used to be very good friends in war, and then all of a sudden, he turned on his own basically brethren and turned on to Mumra and whatnot. There's an episode where Lionel goes and finds the old creator of the Sword of Omens, and he ends up finding him, and I think he's voiced by James Hahn, I think, and James Hahn does a very great job as the voice of the spirit that basically the guy that created the Sword of Omens, the best swordsman in the world, he was called. It also gave me a vibe of Yosaki Yojimbo from Dark Horse. That's not a bad thing. I mean, you look at a character like Usagi Yojimbo, who is blowing up in popularity, even going to get, I think, his old Netflix series soon, which sounds pretty interesting. And they even talked to the creator, I forget his name. They even talked to the creator and told him and asked him if he was going to do the art style. So apparently, I think that he is doing the art style, which would make sense because he created the thing, on his own. But the last episode, which is called The Trial of Lionel in season 1, the three-parter, was actually a really damn good three-parter. I mean, you had the team that was kidnapped by Mumra, and Lionel wouldn't let his, I guess, pride kind of take over from everything else. And so when that happened, the trials were him taking on his friends. He'd have to go against Wily Kit and Wily Cat. He had to go against Chitara. He had to go against Tigra. I mean, he had all these things that he had to go up against. And I'm not going to spoil how it ends, but man, they did a good job explaining his relationship with Tigra. Chitara in this one has honestly one of the best character development in the entire thing. And she even has what I consider to be the greatest backstory in this. Also, Chitara in this is a lot more than she was in the original older series. So, yeah. Also, I love her voice actress. The voice actress really captures like the character of Chitara. Also, what kind of saddens me is that she gets together with Tigra. I'm like, really? But it makes sense when they explain Tiger's backstory and Chitara's backstory. So with Chitara, she wanted to join basically this monk sort of team that was basically considered the fastest warriors in the world, essentially, and she really wanted to join them. But when she failed her exam or whatever, they would not let her in. So essentially, what she did, she basically pulled sort of a Gandhi in this sense, where she would barely eat, she would barely drink, but she would sit right there in front of the plates and she would not move until they said, you can come in. So when she was doing this, Tigra at the time would bring her food, he'd bring her water, he would bring her stuff to eat and drink and whatnot. But hardly ever would she touch it because she really wanted to join the team. She really wanted to be part of this society. And the old man kept telling her, like, no, you're not joining. You're never going to join us. Go away. But Tigra never moved. She never moved from that spot. Until there was a day where she became really, really sick. And she couldn't, because she didn't eat or drink anything, she became very dehydrated and everything. They took her in, and then finally the warrior saw, the old warrior, the shaman basically, saw what he wanted to. And he said, like, okay. He said, you can join us. I see this pride that you're creating. And he said, you can join us. It had this really stellar animation. The music in this also was really flawless. They pay a lot of respect to basically Star Wars in it. There is a clan of tiny robotic bears that are basically a reminiscent of the Ewoks. I was like, these are Ewoks. Like, especially when they first appeared, I think they even like kind of like wear hoods like the Ewoks would, and I'm like, these are Ewoks basically, and they kind of pull a like Rise of Skywalker moment in this series. So I mean, technically speaking, they are doing Star Wars in the Thundercats scene, and if you think that that's a bad thing, that is a very awesome combination that they're doing. No, Lionel's father does not become like an enemy, and he says, "I am your father, Lionel." No, there's none of that. There's none of that. But the voice actor for Mumra, I think it's the original voice actor, so I mean, he does come back and reprise his role as the original Mumra, and I'm like, oh, this is like really damn cool and everything. So I mean, with everything said and done, does it suck like a lot of people say that it does? And if you trust me as a critic or a reviewer, or just as a friend, then take my word for it. You should check out the 2011 Thundercats. I don't think it's very long. I think it only lasted like 2 or 3 seasons because they couldn't get any more money to do the other stuff, and merchandise wasn't moving as fast as they planned. Basically, it's like when they start the TV show, they start throwing toys or merchandise, and if the merchandise or the toys don't sell, then they shut down the TV show. In that essence. And since nothing was really moving for the Thundercat, they decided to shut it down because nobody was really buying anything, nobody was really supporting the show at all and whatnot. And it's a damn shame to see something that was so good, in my opinion, be stopped so soon. Every time I go back down to my Dollar General store, I keep looking for like maybe like a season 2 or whatever, but I never found it. I don't remember what happened at the time. I think like they were trying to do a season 2 and they got canceled, I think, or like it never happened or whatever. But yeah, this is a really sad thing to happen to such a good TV show, and it happened to a lot of Cartoon Network shows at the time. A lot of them got canceled after such a short time, and it was what was going on at Cartoon Network at the time. Like, none of my favorite TV shows really lasted as long as I pretty much wanted them to. Batman the Brave and the Bold did not last that long. It was only 2 seasons long. I thought it was going to last longer. Young Justice, if you remember before they got season 3, they only had 2 seasons, and they were shut down pretty quickly. Regular show at the time, they only went on for I think 2 or 3 seasons, and then it was all done. It's like, you try everything that you can do, and then you eventually lose in the end. It's what happens with a lot of TV shows during that time. So, again, if you're into basically like Young Justice, or if you like the old school Teen Titans series like I did, or that was how I was introduced to the Teen Titans and how I became such a fan of the Teen Titans, you definitely should check out the original OG 2011 Thundercats series. It is not bad at all, because it's sort of like the old series, but with a new twist. Like, essentially, it to me reminds me of the 2001 to 2000, I think, 2 or 3 series of He-Man. It was still He-Man that my parents grew up with, but with a new twist on it. I mean, even my parents at the time when I was a kid, when I used to watch it, used to get into it with me too. Like, it was like a really damn good series that they introduced for the hell of a world to notice. Again, that series too did not last as long, sadly. So, if you trust me as a critic, a reviewer, or just your friend, yeah, I really do think that it's worth your time to check out Thundercats, the 2011 series. I like how they did it too, with book one, book two, kind of like Avatar. That's a really unique nod to do. But yeah, I would really recommend it, and I really do hope maybe in the future, like either Netflix or somebody, will look at this series and get back Phil Lamar, Will Friedle, and Clancy Brown, and really start a brand new season with this with this voice cast that they have here. The original voice actor for Mumra, I don't think he's still around anymore. But Mark Hamill is another good, basically, sit-in, and he's a dude that had worked with Clancy Brown in the past. So, I mean, honestly, they could do a really damn good job. And hell, another good voice actor that you guys should put in this, wink wink, hint hint, would be Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman the Animated Series, who would do such a stellar job as anyone in this. Also, introduce the other Thundercats, have Kevin Conroy voice Bengali. I'm a fan of Bengali. Yeah. See, with the OG cast, I was a big fan of Panthro and I was also a fan of Link Show, up until they announced, up until they announced Bengali, I was really, a really big fan of Bengali. So, yeah. But it's still a good series to watch. There are other animated series that I'll be talking about on the channel, of course, one of which is DuckTales. I will be yet talking about, like, reviewing the old TV series of DuckTales, so that's something I look forward to. But anyways, I really do think that it's worth your time to check out Thundercats if you can. Maybe it's on Amazon, maybe it's on a streaming service of some type, really don't know. But yes, it is worth your time. And especially to hear Batman Beyond or Blue Beetle as Lionel, I think that Will Friedle does a really amazing good job, especially as a voice actor. And one of my favorites, he does a pretty damn good job. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you want me to use the site Beyond Sites in this, I can tell you that you will definitely enjoy the series, especially if you like darker storylines for your original cast of characters, because this has some pretty dark stories, especially towards the end of it. But yeah, it might end off on a cliffhanger because I don't think Season 2 ever happened. So, that's a minus. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And enjoy the Thundercats TV series again. Great voice acting, amazing music, quality animation, and just a stellar performance all around. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.